Welcome to Champions for Life, the radio ministry of First Choice Pregnancy Services here in Las Vegas. I'm Deborah, the Executive Director of First Choice.
And I'm Ken.
And we are Champions for Life.
Champions for Life. Welcome, folks. Welcome to the broadcast. I'm your host, Ken Wilson. Welcome to America's most powerful pro-life program, and we are so delighted to be in studio with you today. Our telephone lines, if you would like to call in, are open. 650-5588. That's 650-5588, 650-KKVV. And, boy, we got a good show for you today. We got Phillip Avila in-house, formerly with Students for Life, probably still working with Students for Life on and off, and also pro-life nurses. We're going to be talking about that organization and the impact that they're making. For those of you who are in the medical profession, wondering if there's any like-minded folks out there, Phillip is going to tell you there's a whole bunch, isn't there, Phillip?
There sure are.
There you go. So we're going to be talking about that. Good news today. Oh, we got good. The big, beautiful bill passed. Thank you, Lord. And so we're going to be talking about defunding Planned Parenthood. I mean, that's just, oh, man, I wish we had an applause thing and a drum roll. I would, because it would, listen, finally, taxpayer dollars and Medicaid money is going to stop just pouring into the number one abortion provider in the world. Tax exempt, by the way. In fact, did you know they have their own tax exempt status? You know, y'all know about 501c, C3 for churches, C4 for political. They have 501F. It's F. It's theirs. I mean, how do you do? Who else? Nobody else. Isn't that amazing? So anyway, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. And we're just so happy to be in the studio with you today. And by the way, happy 4th of July for all our listeners. We're going to be celebrating, 249 years of freedom. Freedom, baby, in the United States. So go out there and, support your Safe and Sane fireworks and, support your... by the way, for those of you, and we don't have one this year. Years ago, I used to have a fireworks stand for Christian Action Council.
Really?
Because we're 501c3. Mm-hmm. If you're 501c3, like a church or soccer group or whatever it is, you can sell fireworks in the state of Nevada as a fundraiser, and that's what we did. We did it for years, and it was a blast, literally.
Got to get it back.
I was thinking, do we do it again? Well, obviously not this year, but go out there and support. Find out if your church is doing one or one of your favorite organizations is selling fireworks, and go out and support. You can be guaranteed that wherever you buy your fireworks, it's more than likely a very fine organization. So. All right, but before we get into that, we want to acknowledge our wonderful sponsors that make this portion of the broadcast possible. Now, look, folks, we could not be on the air if it wasn't for our wonderful businesses that love you, love life, love our country, love the Lord, and these are just RTS. Postal Express is one of them. Angelo is going to love you and serve you up if you have any copy needs whatsoever. Color copies, black and white copies, business cards, letterheads, banners, business flags. If you need your logo on coffee cups or thermoses, even on your shirt, maybe you'd like some shirts with your name or your business name on there. Listen, Angelo's going to fix you up at RTS Postal Express. Give him a call. The number is 702-489-4859. That's 489-4859, RTS Postal Express. And if you mention Champions for Life, you will get 10% off your order. So don't forget, make the order big. You want a big order. How cool is it to have like a coffee cup with your, saying that, with your organization on there? We're still going to get ours that says Champions for Life. We're going to give them away on the broadcast here pretty soon. But RTS Postal Express stands for Really Terrific Services, one of the proud sponsors of the Champions for Life radio broadcast. And by the way, if your business needs more business, then you need to be blessed by being an advertiser on this broadcast. Because I'm telling you straight up, this radio broadcast, which is an outreach ministry of First Choice Pregnancy Services, is making a difference. And I'm going to tell you straight up, the Lord loves this ministry. He just does. And he's going to bless you and bless your business just by being an advertiser on this broadcast. I'm telling you, listen, if you don't get more business, well, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have so much business, you're not going to know what to do with it. And then, of course, Felipe, that's not our problem.
Nope.
No, if you've got to look, if you've got too much business by being an advertiser, well, open another store.
That's right.
That's all. Hire more employees.
Yeah.
Just go with the flow. So if you'd like more information about being a sponsor on this broadcast, a supporter of First Choice Pregnancy Services, because you need more business for your, and who doesn't, right?
That's right.
Give First Choice a call and say, hey, listen, I heard that guy on the radio, and he said I'm gonna have more business for my business, and I need more business. Then give him a call. Here's the number: 702-294-CARE. That's 294-2273. First Choice Pregnancy Services, and say, hey, listen, we want to be a supporter. We want to support what First Choice is doing. I mean, the President of the United States is doing it now. We got the one big, beautiful bill. It's already going to start to help. So listen, you can be, you can help. Phillip, they can help.
They sure can.
And so that's what you want to do, and help First Choice Pregnancy Services. Listen, you want to hear about a ministry that's making a difference. 45,000 birthdays since they opened 20 years ago. Yeah. 45,000. There are 45,000 children alive.
Praise God.
There may be grandchildren by now.
Yeah.
Since they opened 20 years ago. Can you imagine a greater blessing to our community and to you by supporting this ministry? I just can't imagine. That's why I love them. I got to be honest with you. That's why I love First Choice. I love what they do. I love their heart. If you haven't taken a tour of the facility, you give them a call and take a tour of this, because it's a hospital. It's a free clinic for women who are facing a crisis in their pregnancy. It doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what it is. And they'll even see, for example, women who are post-abortive.
Yeah.
And even men that are struggling. And they say, listen, I need someone to talk to. Or maybe they need to find out if you're pregnant. Maybe you've been considering an abortion, but you need more information because you don't trust the people at Planned Parenthood or the abortion. Because look, I'll be honest with you, all they want is their money. They're going to get you in, and then you're out, and then you got to go deal with the consequences. At least find out what those consequences are. Find out if you're pregnant. First Choice is going to provide you a free pregnancy test. They're going to offer you a free sonogram. They're going to talk to you, show you all the you would not believe, ladies. You would not believe the amount of resources that are available to you to help you if you decide to carry that child, to have that baby. Listen, from housing to funds to supplies to, whatever it is that you need. If First Choice can't provide it, we know the folks that can, because there are organizations out there that just love you. Shout out to Living Grace Homes. They're about to open up their third home for moms who are needed a place to stay to have their baby. A safe environment, beautiful, not government funded. Isn't that crazy? And that's just one organization in town. And we love Kathleen Miller. One day we're going to get her on the show and talk about what's going on down there. But all right, so before we get to Phillip, which we're going to, we got to talk about this big, beautiful bill, Phillip.
We do.
Let's see. In a historic victory for pro-life Americans, that means every baby that's going to be born, basically. Historic victory. U.S. House of Representatives passed the one big, beautiful bill today, a sweeping reconciliation measure that includes provisions to defund Planned Parenthood. Oh, man, it sounds so good. Defund Planned Parenthood. And once President Trump signs that thing into law, it'll be the first time that the radical Planned Parenthood, pro-abortion business has ever been defunded by the government. Why should our taxpayer dollars, Phillip, why should my money from taxes go to an organization that is helping to destroy the next generation of Americans?
Isn't that the question? Yeah.
And they've doubled down. Now they want to go into the transgender and why? Please tell me why my money should go to that. I can't think of a good reason.
Neither can I.
Right? The vote was 218 to 214, so it was close.
Yep.
Right? And the new law will redirect hundreds of millions of dollars in taxpayer dollars to community-based pro-life health providers and away from Planned Parenthood and big abortion. And how good is that? The bill, known as H.R. 1, makes a significant step in the pro-life movement's long-standing effort to end federal funding for Planned Parenthood, a radical, crazy organization that kills 400,000 Americans a year while receiving $700 million in government funds. Our money goes to killing 500,000 babies that is probably more for Planned Parenthood. Why? Why would you do this? Why? The defunding provision outlined in Section 44-126 of the bill effectively terminates Medicaid reimbursements to Planned Parenthood. Did you know Medicaid was funding that? Closing a loophole that has allowed the organization to access federal funds despite the Hyde Amendment ban on taxpayer funding for abortion. So that's how they got around it. They went through Hyde Amendment, stated that we were not going to be able to fund abortions through taxpayer dollars even from other countries. And guess what? They got around that through using the use of Medicaid. Said Carol Tobias, who's the president of National Right to Life. She said, we applaud pro-life members in Congress and pro-life leadership, including House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune, for keeping their promises to the American people and delivering a bill that prevents taxpayer funds from subsidizing the abortion industry. For decades, Americans have made it clear, crystal clear, they do not want their tax dollars going to fund abortion. And today, Congress delivered. Women deserve compassionate, life-affirming care that upholds the dignity of both mother and the baby. This legislation sends a message that we can and should foster a culture that cherishes both lives, both mom and child, and dad. Dad's in the picture, of course. The American people should not have to continue subsidizing the abortion industry. And now, thanks to one big, beautiful bill, they won't be, said Jenny Bradley Lichter, president of March for Life Action. And says, we joyfully anticipate President Trump signing this landmark legislation which ensures that Americans' hard-earned taxpayer dollars are not being used to prop up an industry whose business model is built on ending human lives, misleading pregnant women into thinking that their abortion is their only option, and delivering substandard health care that they can then charge to the government. And Susan B. Anthony, Pro-Life America, President Marjorie Dannenfelser, also just singing the praises. Defunding the abortion industry, led by Planned Parenthood, marks the greatest pro-life victory since the Dobbs decision. For the first time in history, Congress is halting forced taxpayer funding of big abortion in the Medicaid program. This one for 1 year. And that's something that I don't know. Is this stipulation is only going to be for 1 year? What's going to happen in year 2?
We'll talk about it.
We're going to talk about that. They will save lives and strip over $500 million from big abortions coffers. Combined with last week's Supreme Court decision empowering states to do the same, this represents tremendous progress towards achieving a decades-long goal that has long proved elusive. For decades, big abortion has siphoned off billions, that's with a B, folks, in taxpayer dollars to prop up a scandal-ridden industry built on abortion and partisan politics. Planned Parenthood alone commits over 400,000 abortions a year, while services like cancer screenings continue to plummet, all while pocketing over $2 million every day from taxpayers. I mean, it's just enough. And it's over. It's over, Phillip. Yeah. It's over. Oh,
for now.
For now. That's right. You know, because the battle is going to continue. You know, because listen, here, like for example, here in Las Vegas, where we have a democratically controlled legislature and policies, they are going to continue to funnel money to women in pro-life states and continue to bring them here to Las Vegas with the sole purpose of making Las Vegas and the state of Nevada the abortion capital of the United States. They're doing it already. Listen, they're already. You know what? They had that. What's his name? Pritzker from Illinois, the governor, a sitting governor, come to our state to change our not our laws, but make an amendment to our Constitution. A sitting governor from another state. I still can't get over that. And they have done it now through question 6. And it passed. The voters approved it, sadly. And if they prove it again, this next election cycle, our Constitution will be changed, and it's going to allow for a nightmare of laws.
Right.
You won't even have to be a doctor to perform abortion.
That's right.
Can you imagine that? You only have to be a healthcare professional. You don't even have to be a doctor, right? And you can say goodbye to parental notification. So if your 12, 13-year-old daughter, if God forbid, gets pregnant and you don't know about it, you won't know about it unless they tell you, or you get a call from the emergency room, or God forbid, the coroner, because something drastically terrible has happened to your baby daughter, and that will be the law. That will not only be the law, that will be the constitutional amendment upon which all of our laws are based in the state of Nevada. I mean, it's just frightening for America, and it's already passed.
It's atrocious, yeah.
It's absolutely atrocious. So, look, we got work to do. It's just because the one big beautiful bill passed, Felipe, doesn't mean that we're done. We got a lot of work to do, right? And so Felipe's come in here. Felipe, you've been you've been with Students for Life, still working with them, and now you're working with.
Yeah, it's the National Association of Pro-Life Nurses.
Pro-Life Nurses. So I bet there's some folks in the medical profession out there who are listening to this broadcast thinking, you know what? I didn't even know that was an organization. You mean they're like-minded people like me in the medical profession?
Yep.
And there's a bunch of them.
Exactly. We represent everything from our nursing assistants all the way up to our nurse practitioners or other clinicians. So you don't just have to be a registered nurse. You can be a nurse aide, you can be an NP. We represent those providers.
You know, my daughter, by the way, is getting into the medical profession. She's going to be studying to become a nurse.
Well, you'll have to tell her about us.
Yeah, I will. In fact, she's already working at a hospital, and she loves it. You know, despite the horror stories that she comes home and tells Dad, which I don't.
Oh, that's right.
It takes a special person, and my daughter is just wonderful. And so, so Felipe, talk to me about pro-life nurses now. Now, how long has this organization been in existence?
Yeah, so we officially organized in 1973, incorporated in 78. So we've been around for a while, and for the last 50 years, we've been really working to represent our clinicians, our providers, and making sure that, liberal politicians are not forcing them to violate their deeply held beliefs and their deeply held opposition to abortion. So we've recently shifted now towards looking at chemical abortion, which is the overwhelming majority of abortions in the nation. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we're concerned about is the complications and the risks that women don't know about when they're receiving this chemical abortion from providers.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to get to chemical abortions in a second, but one of the things that a lot of people don't understand, or maybe didn't realize, is that when a doctor or a nurse wants to get into the medical field, especially when you're dealing with surgery or assisting a surgeon, that in a lot of states, at least in years past, these states made it a requirement, listen folks, a requirement that they must either, one, be able to perform abortion if you're a doctor, or two, be able to assist in abortion. Now hold on a second. What if I'm a Christian nurse? What if I'm a Christian doctor? I don't want to have anything to do with this, right? But you run into the AMA, the American Medical Association. What happens? And so what is the status of that right now? I know that you're pushing back against that.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating that you mentioned that, because the AMA used to be one of the most vocally pro-life professional organizations that we had in the healthcare space. And unfortunately, we started to see a lot of special interest groups, a lot of dark money from Soros-backed PACs that started to essentially change the AMA's position. And so, the American Nurses Association, the AMA, they've shifted towards their position today, which they believe all providers should be forced to participate in abortions, whether that's in training, whether that's in practice.
That's crazy.
It is.
That's absolutely crazy. Your daughter, right? She's going to college, right? 19, 20 years old. She's going to college. Now she wants to get into nursing. They want to require that your little Susie, right, just the pristine little angel of a girl, is able to assist in the abortion procedure. Right? And in our state, you can abort up to 6 months. In some states, it's all the way to 9 months. Can you imagine how... I can't even imagine being part of that. But this would be a requirement in order for your little Susie in order for her to get her nursing degree or a doctor degree if she's going that way.
Exactly.
That's insanity. Mm-hmm. It's insanity. And what happens if Susie says, no, you can't make me do that? Now what would happen? In the past, what would happen? Would they be the American Medical Association said, well, maybe you need to find another career? I mean, what happens?
Right. So back then, unfortunately, the nursing boards in a lot of states, especially in New York, they would essentially say, that sucks, right? If you can't provide what they see as basic health care, then you shouldn't be a nurse, you shouldn't be a midwife.
Wow.
So they've redefined it.
Are you hearing this? How insane is this? Right? Unless you are able to be involved and are to be able to assist or perform an abortion, you cannot be a nurse or a doctor. How frightening is that? How frightening our culture. So what progress has pro-life nurses made so far?
Yeah, so we've been at this fight for 50 years now, and I can say that we've made progress at least at the baccalaureate level. So for a lot of our RNs, we've been able to go into the state level, local level, and enact those conscience protections. Unfortunately, specifically for our midwives, our women's health nurse practitioners, our physicians, OBs, this fight is still raging on.
Wow. Can you imagine this? Can you imagine this? You have this wonderful religious lady that maybe is in the choir, but she also is a doctor, and she wants to be a doctor or she wants to be a nurse, right? Because that's her compassion to help care for those, right? And she's now being required to know how to perform or assist in an abortion procedure. Even a late term. Can you imagine? Listen, years ago, I'm going to tell you this, Phillip. Wouldn't plan on telling this, but years ago, a lot of people ask, Kenny, how'd you get involved in the pro-life movement? We had a couple of guys came. In fact, they were police officers, but we didn't know it. They came in and they showed us a movie with Charlton Heston and Dr. Bernard Nathanson. Now, Dr. Bernard Nathanson was known at the time as the father of abortions. Right, did over 100,000 of them, right? But then he saw a sonogram, right, changed his heart. So he said, you know what, we got to let all America know about what's happening in our medical community, what an abortion is. So he put out a movie called Eclipse of Reason. And Charlton Heston, you remember Charlton Heston? He was Moses in the Ten Commandments, right? You remember Charlton? He narrated it, right? So they came in and they showed us this documentary in church during a service. And what you witnessed was they had a woman, obviously probably a medical training film, but this woman she was in obviously second trimester. They had cameras on the inside of the womb, cameras on the outside of the womb, and our church watched as this baby was graphically torn apart in the womb. We could see it from the inside and from the outside. We saw this baby moving away. We saw this baby, and we watched. Listen, I got up from this. Our church was devastated. And I walked up to these folks. I said, it turned out he was a cop. It ended up being Chet Gallagher. And I said, listen, I don't know who you people are, but what do I sign? And that's how I got myself involved 30 years ago, easy, in the pro-life community. Now, listen, folks, the reason I mention this is because your daughter or your son wants to because he's a noble-minded person, wants to get into the health profession because they care about folks. Yet some of these states and some of these organizations, like the AMA, are going to require that your son and your daughter learns how to perform or learns how to assist in an abortion. How frightening. And this is America.
And you know why they're doing it? Because unfortunately, the abortion issue has become, the front lines of this is in healthcare now. And we're hearing one narrative in the mainstream news that abortion is healthcare. And we have a minority, a very, big minority, but they're trying to push them out. They're trying to say, if you have a pro-life viewpoint, you shouldn't be in healthcare at all. And so effectively what they're trying to do is silence nurses, midwives, physicians.
Wow. Isn't that frightening? That's our folks, that's our medical profession today. Right. Amazing. I'm talking with Phillip Avila of pro-life nurses. Now look, there's probably some medical professional right now listening to you and say, you know what, thank God for this organization. How do they get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So the first step they can take is pull out their phone, go on their laptop and search nursesforlife.org. And it's a very simple sign-up process. We send a member packet, and one of the things that we're doing right now in all 50 states, we're mobilizing our nurses, our practitioners, to stop a lot of those attempts by liberal, abortion legislatures that are trying to force our clinicians to assist or provide abortions.
Wow. So there you go. So give them the email address again.
Yeah, so it's nursesforlife.org.
Nursesforlife, F-O-R, forlife.org, and sign up, get more information. Can you just be interested in the medical profession in order to just sign up and find
Absolutely.
out what's going on?
So we also have student membership, and that's completely free for anyone to join.
You know what? Listen, folks, get involved. Listen, look, I mean, if we can't even protect our children from the organizations that are supposed to be caring for us, I mean, where have we gone?
Right.
And so that's, oh my goodness, nursesforlife.org. And this is a charity 501c3?
We're a 501c3, and if you're not a nurse or clinician, you can still support our work and help us fight back against a lot of those bills. Folks,
listen, you can throw money at them, and it's a tax write-off. You can help support them and what they're doing to try and stop this insanity from affecting folks that are wanting to become part of the healthcare profession. And so what a wonderful thing that you're doing. All right, so hang on one sec. I want to acknowledge, I have to talk about one doctor right here, Kelly Chiropractic, Dr. Ray Kelly. Listen, he is a champion for life. Loves you, loves the Lord. Dr. Ray Kelly of Kelly Chiropractic. Listen, been doing this practically 33, 34 years. He treats injuries from falls, accidents, car crashes, work-related. You walked into your gate, you stepped over whatever it is, you got all twisted out of shape. Maybe because, maybe you voted for Harris and you're really upset and you're all bent out of shape. Listen, give Doc Kelly. He's still going to love you, despite how you voted. He's still going to love you and help you. Now, listen. Not only does he do spinal adjustments, obviously, but there's more to what he does. If you are in pain, please, I cannot stress this enough. If you are living with pain, please go see Doc Kelly. Now, look, I'm going to give you a testimonial. Not only me, I'm playing golf thanks to him again, right? But listen, I had my 13-year-old daughter. She was suffering migraines every month. So you figure 13-year-old, right? 13 migraines probably. He said, "No, Kenny, bring her in." Folks, I am not making this up. He brought her in. Now she's suffering migraines. So it's your baby girl, right? And brought her in. Within a series of, he found something in her neck that was amazingly, he figured out what it was and adjusted her, right? Apart from a month, in less than a month, she had one more migraine, and since then, in the last 5 months since she had no more headaches. Gone, wow. Gone. Listen to me, gone. My daughter Adele, migraine headaches, gone. Kelly Chiropractic. Listen, he treats pain for plantar fasciitis, arthritic pain. Listen, he has some laser therapy techniques that's going to help you. And if you mention Champions for Life, you're going to get 10% off a laser package. And this helps you. For those of you who have, like for me, I have muscle spasms in my back type thing. This laser therapy helps. Plus, he has a natural vitamin regimen that I'm a part of that will help for a natural muscle relaxer. Because some of these, I got to tell you, Phillip, some of these muscle relaxers they send you into outer space. I don't want to be in outer space. I want to have my feet planted on, right? So I've been taking this and feeling so much better. Give Doc Kelly a call. This is the bottom line. Give Doc Kelly a call. 702-870-9200. 870-9200. And if you want to see all the qualifications, which are more than I could possibly tell you, look him up on the web, dockelly.com, and you're going to see everything that he does. This guy is an absolute genius. And you know what else? I'm going to tell you something. He's got a photographic memory.
Really?
And he's a pastor. I mean, how good is that? How good is that? It's just, he loves you, going to love the Lord. And don't tell him everything because he'll never forget it.
Yes.
Don't tell
That's
him.
right.
He'll never forget. So Kelly Chiropractic, one of the proud sponsors of the Champions for Life radio broadcast. And if you would like to be a sponsor of this wonderful ministry, this outreach ministry of First Choice Pregnancy Services, listen, First Choice for ladies that you guys are listening. Ladies, if you think you're pregnant, maybe you want to get pregnant, maybe you have some questions about the abortion procedure, right? Listen, First Choice Pregnancy Services is a free clinic for you. It's free. In the 20 years that they've been in business, they haven't charged anybody anything. Licensed by doctors, nurses, and staff that are going to love you to pieces. It's just that simple. And you know what else? I'll tell you something you didn't know. Maybe you did, Phillip, that this clinic is the only clinic in town, in the state of Nevada, that does abortion reversals.
I learned that 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so you knew it already. Now you say, Kenny, what are you talking about, abortion reversals? Listen,
Right.
sometimes a young lady takes the abortion drug. It's a 2-part drug. The first part of the pills suffocate the baby, basically, till the baby's dead. And then the second part of the expels the dead baby. So it's a 2-part thing. So the women take the poison and they regret it. The moms take the poison and say, what have I done? What have I done? Now what do I do? Well, guess what? Emergency room's not going to help you. Hospital's not going to help you. There's no clinics that are going to help you except First Choice Pregnancy Services. They will take you and they will do everything they can to save your baby. They have a 65% survival rate for women that we get to them in time. Let's put it this way. There are children that are alive today. There are children in Las Vegas that are alive today because the mom took the abortion drug, changed her mind, called First Choice, and their baby is alive today. I've met them. And listen, they are so, so thankful that First Choice. So, if you would like to be a sponsor of the Champions for Life radio broadcast, remember that your business is going to bless First Choice Pregnancy Services and help them exist. And I want to tell you something else. Look, our dream, we've got 2 million people here in the Las Vegas Valley, and we're underserved as far as crisis pregnancy centers, pregnancy help centers like First Choice and like Women's Resource Medical Center. We're underserved. We need more of these centers to help address the needs of the women and families that are in Las Vegas. Make no bones about it. We want to open another clinic. We want to open a second clinic in this city and maybe in Reno as well. And we need your help. We just need your help so that we can staff it with doctors. And if you're in the medical profession, don't listen to me. Listen to Phillip. Phillippe's going to tell you, we need the nurses, we need our medical practitioners, we need doctors, right? We need them not only at the facility where we're at, but we need them for the next First Choice Pregnancy Services Center. That's what we want to do. We want to open up another center. So we need a building, we need staff, we need equipment, and we can get a lot of these things already, but we need a little more help. So if you are a board member of a major organization, consider making First Choice part of your annual philanthropic donation from your corporation, and then see if God doesn't bless your business because of the donation of your company. Test and see. And I can only tell you that God is going to bless you. I can't think of anyone that has either come through our doors that have been a part of First Choice that have not been blessed by the ministry, by their actions of helping. So if you want to be a part of that, of saving lives, of making a difference, of taking the gospel outside the walls of your church, give First Choice a call. Here's the number, 702-294-2273. That's 294-CARE. 294-CARE. And so, you know what? I heard that guy on the radio, and I heard Phillip pretty much order me to go and be a part of First Choice. And pro-life nurses, nursesforlife.org. And get more information, sign up, find out what they're doing, find out about, you let folks know about legislation and stuff too, right? Yeah, so listen, good source of info right there. So, all right, there you go. So, we were going to talk about chemical abortions.
That's right.
And what a serious, catastrophic problem is lurching right now.
Oh, yeah.
And so Talk to me about. Tell me how bad this is.
Yeah, so this all started with COVID-19, so pandemic era, and a lot of abortion facilities thankfully closed during that time because they were non-essential facilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Abortion is not healthcare; it is not an essential service, and so unfortunately, what happened was a lot of companies started investing in creating chemical abortions. So Danko Laboratories, Big Pharma, they created their product, which is misoprostol and mifepristone, which are now used for 60% of abortions. So overwhelmingly, women are having abortions in their home, and we're now just starting to find out the insane complications that come with that. The pharmaceutical company that creates these drugs at the time said it was much safer than Tylenol. And a few weeks ago, we actually just got new undisputable data. There was a bombshell report from the Ethics and Public Policy Center, and it found that chemical abortions are actually 10 times more dangerous than surgical abortion.
Whoa. Chemical abortions. Talking about the abortion drug that you can just walk down to Planned Parenthood and get it through the mail.
Or not even walk there, just go online, have a telehealth appointment.
They're going to send you this poison. Yeah. You take it, and it's 10 times more dangerous for the pregnant mom than a surgical abortion.
That's right.
Wow. Okay. All right. Why?
A lot of the complications, especially with hemorrhaging, a lot of the women are bleeding out. And the abortion provider, they will tell them, a little bit of blood is normal, but they don't know how much is normal, right? And so our nurses, our clinicians, we're seeing women in the tens of thousands coming into the emergency room that are having complications from chemical abortion pills.
Tens of thousands, folks. Tens of thousands. And I heard a report, I think we talked about this last week or the week before. I think it was last week, 11%. Listen, folks, listen. 11, for those of you considering taking this poison, 11% of every woman who takes this drug ends up in the emergency room. I thought it was 10%. It's now 11%. 11%. Not just, my doctor, I go to see my general practitioner. No. The emergency room. 11%. You're risking your life.
Right.
And they're handing it out like candy. You don't even, borderline prescription, if that. It's frightening, Felipe.
Yeah, and like I said, not to mention, a lot of these complications are because women have ectopic pregnancies, right? Which unfortunately, it's an emergency situation.
Whole nother problem. In case you don't know what an ectopic pregnancy is, where the baby develops not in the womb, but in the fallopian tube. And that in itself is life-threatening. And so women are taking this abortion drug. They have an ectopic pregnancy. In other words, the baby's developing somewhere where it's not supposed to. And now they don't realize the emergency that they've putting themselves in. And now you can die from that.
Oh, you absolutely can. And again, a lot of these abortion providers, they're not screening for that. They're just going on a very quick 5-10 minute telehealth appointment. They're saying, here's the prescription. And
no sonogram?
No sonogram in a lot of these states.
That's criminal. Yeah. That's criminal. Oh, wow. Felipe, that's criminal. That's just flat out criminal.
And they're coming into our hospitals, and our nurses are the ones that are treating them.
Oh, wow. That's just criminal. Yeah. Wow. It's such, listen, folks, listen to me. Listen, ladies, listen. If you're pregnant, before you I'm begging you, before you consider taking that abortion drug, and before you go and waltz into an abortion facility, we have a free clinic. We will give you a free sonogram. We will be able to find out if your baby, it's an ectopic pregnancy or not. At least get information. Listen, this is a $400 or $500 sonogram. We'll give it to you for free. For free. All you have to do is call First Choice 294-CARE 294-2273 and say, listen, all right, I'm thinking about taking this abortion drug, or I'm thinking about getting an abortion. But listen, just to be safe, I'm going to go get this free sonogram for you because maybe I shouldn't trust the abortion doctor, or maybe I shouldn't trust these pills that I just now got for free. I'm begging you, ladies, please don't risk your own life for what you might be thinking is just convenience. Wow. That's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's an epidemic right now that we have with this complication rates. You know, we've seen fever, infection, and complete abortion. You know, it's like you said. I mean, it's criminal, and the fact that these pharmaceutical companies are profiting off of the expense of women's lives is abhorrent.
Wow. That's just so you know, just because things like, these little minor, I don't say minor, but victories like passing, the one big beautiful bill where it defunds Planned Parenthood, the battle rages on, folks, because abortion is a multi-pronged problem that affects everyone from teenagers, up to, middle-aged ladies and families. And there's so many avenues where the fingers of this is reaching in, both to our schools and to our medical profession. There's just so many avenues of where this is infiltrating that we have to be vigilant in seeing what's happening. There's a whole nother section of this where, we were talking about this earlier, how if you take the abortion drug, and remember, 60% of all abortions, and there's a lot of abortions that are still being done in America, 60% of them this is happening at home. What do you do with the baby that you've expelled that is now dead?
Right.
Well, guess what a lot of women are doing? Going right down the toilet. I'm sorry to say. They're being flushed down the toilet. Yeah. And so what's happening now is not only are we seeing fetal remains ending up in we've already got a report here in Las Vegas at Las Vegas Water District. But we're seeing fetal remains that are clogging our filtration systems and our water supplies. And so not only that, if that wasn't frightening enough, you have mifepristone and misoprostol. These two chemicals are now seeping into our water supply, not only just in Las Vegas, but throughout the United States. This is a pandemic of a healthcare issue. This is a health crisis because there's no studies, right? Are there any studies at all about the effects of mifepristone or misoprostol in water supplies? Has there any studies been done?
We're just starting to see that research come in, and let me tell you, it's not. They're ending up in our tap water, and what do we do with that water? We drink it.
We drink it. We cook with it. We shower with it. Wow, we brush our teeth with it.
Right. And so what the abortion facilities are telling women they're instructing them actually to go to the toilet, sit down. They will miscarry there, and then they say, "Don't look, flush."
Oh, Lord have mercy.
And so what they're flushing is, the fetal remains, we have the placenta, it's the organs, right? Because it's up to 8 to 11 weeks right now for chemical abortion. And that's something that the abortion industry is desperately trying to hide.
Okay. All right. So Robert Kennedy, right? He's got to look into this because just from a health safety, public safety standpoint, dealing with our water supply. Listen, our water supply is critical. Right. Not only does it affect humans, but it affects our livestock. It affects animals. I mean, this water feeds everything. It seeps into everything. Mm-hmm. Surely he's got to be looking into this. What do we know so far?
Right, absolutely. So we've made progress in regards to the actual safety and efficacy of chemical abortion. So Robert F. Kennedy, the Secretary of HHS, instructed the head of the FDA, the CDC, and other government agencies to look to do a thorough review, essentially, of chemical abortion, which, again, we're just starting to see a lot more data that disputes the claim that it's a safe procedure. It is, in fact, not. So what we're calling on, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to do is now investigate the health risks that are happening with all of the chemicals, the fetal remains that are ending up in our tap water, in our water systems. And unfortunately, like we said earlier, this is something that people don't realize is in their tap water that they're drinking, the tap water that they're using to cook their food. And there was a recent study that really was a bombshell, and it found that in a lot of aquatic ecosystems where we have that water runoff, we're starting to see the endocrine disruptors from the chemical abortion drugs. They're starting to cause chromosomal abnormalities and mutations in the aquatic life. So everything from fish to frogs, and this is something that the mainstream media has not been covering enough.
Wow. So many times, Philippe, over the years, when you talk about the abortion industry, the issue of abortion, and you're in churches and stuff, and pastors would say, well, I really focus on the gospel and all this, and that we don't get involved in political issues, right? We just, well, guess what? The issue is seeping into your home now,
quite literally,
Pastor.
Yeah.
It's now infiltrated
Right.
your water supply. Mm-hmm. This is affecting not only you, but all of your congregation and everyone in the city where you live. And I mean, what does it take? I mean, how much more critical
Right.
of a problem do we need to have before America and at least our religious leaders stand up and say, hey, listen,
Right.
we got a problem here. Not to mention, Pastor, that the walking wounded that are sitting in your pews, because listen, I hate to tell you this, but the abortion does affect the Christian community and the women that are sitting in your churches, right? And they're sitting there, and there's I have a whole report here on the silent wounded that are sitting in congregations that are suffering in silence. And it just doesn't affect the mom; it affects their relationship with their future children or the children that they already have. And so that's a whole nother
Right.
Segment to this problem. And so, guess what, pastors? It's time. If we don't wake up now, the
time is now.
The time is now. Holy smoke! All right, we're talking with Phillip Avila of Pro-Life Nurses of America. It's pro-life. Give me the because I'm going to mess it up.
So it's Nurses for Life.
NursesForLife.org. There you go. NursesForLife.org, and an organization that's 50 years old now. You were telling me. So if you're in the medical profession and you're not signed up,
right,
then you need to be.
Yep, we outlived Roe v. Wade, so we'll be here for a while.
Yes, you did. There you go. And hopefully you will be outliving a lot of children as we continue to fight to see sanity brought back into to our administration and our laws, especially in the state of Nevada.
Absolutely.
So you are going to be you're going to remain in the Las Vegas area for at least another month or so, correct?
About, yeah.
So we're going to have you back. We got a lot more to talk about. Just talking about some of the ramifications and the progress, because we're not done yet. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine, Felipe, had we lost? I don't say we lost, but if America had lost this election to the other party who is pro-abortion,
oh my gosh,
can you imagine?
That would have set the clock back for us 50 years.
I just can't imagine it. I mean, we already have headaches as it is enough in Las Vegas in our state, but for the rest of the country who's fighting for life, it would have been next to impossible. And so, wow.
But I think we're winning, and we're winning the culture war, especially. You mentioned we had the reconciliation bill. We had the big beautiful bill that was passed in Congress, and I just say this: I think that 1 year of defunding Planned Parenthood is progress. That's a start. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, we were set out to defund Planned Parenthood for 10 years. So that's $500 million of taxpayer funding every single year. Unfortunately, we had an unelected bureaucrat, the Senate parliamentarian, that knocked it down to 1 year. So
what does that mean? I mean, we're gonna have to face this again in a year?
That's right. So we're still hard at work. It's this was really, we made progress with 1 year. This was unprecedented, like you mentioned, and we've been building towards defunding Planned Parenthood for decades. But unfortunately, this is just the beginning. Congress needs to come back together again and defund Planned Parenthood, not for 1 year, but for 10 or more years.
And I'm going to tell you something, folks. Look, we have a civic duty to go out and help our community. Now, look, even if you didn't look at the fact that this is now affecting you in your own home, inside your own home, right? And if you have children, especially, your daughters who are growing up, and especially in Las Vegas, this will affect them. These decisions affect you and affect all of us. And so, look, now is the time to become involved, to keep an active eye on this legislation that's coming. And listen, when the time comes again for us to go and vote, you must know where your Congress critter, your legislator, stands on life issues.
Right.
Where do they stand? Do they even know about our contaminated water supply? Where do they stand on abortion reversals? You know, we barely defeated a bill here in the state of Nevada, this past legislature, that was targeted against any organization, and there's only one, that was doing abortion reversals. Can you imagine a piece of legislation didn't mention us by name, but it was us. It was First Choice.
Right.
Targeted towards us to shut us down from doing abortion reversals. The same procedure that, I think it's progesterone, that you could,
Right.
that a doctor would give a woman whose child, for whatever reason, the mother's not providing that hormone for their child, and the child is then, perhaps at risk. A doctor, a worthy OBGYN, would try and save that child's life normally, right, for his patient. But if a clinic does it, like First Choice, to try and prevent an abortion from a chemical abortion procedure, guess what? That bill would have shut us down. But you know what?
Right.
We defeated that bill.
Praise
But
God.
it's because, folks, we got active. That we've awakened ourselves to the civic responsibility we have to stop this. And it worked. And in fact, y'all rose up. I got a special shout out to Christiane Merch, who's been on this broadcast, Mrs. Brazil, whom we absolutely love, right? Who's just spearheaded a lot of this. And also Nevada Right to Life.
Right. So
So grateful for their leadership. Melissa Clement, who was there, and we were there a little bit too on some of these bills. They try. You know what else they tried to do? They tried to have physician-assisted suicide.
they keep bringing it back.
They keep bringing it back, and they try to infiltrate
Right.
this, and we didn't want. Thankfully, we shut that down.
Right.
And thankfully, Governor Lobato also said that you know what, we don't need this in our state.
Well,
Right.
they say they're pro-choice, right? And these lawmakers, but in reality, the only choice they believe in is abortion.
Yeah, or craziness like physician-assisted suicide, where
Right.
Doctors are actively ending the lives of patients who wish to die. It's just this is an answer for a problem that we don't need. So now's the time, folks. So anyway, we've been talking with Phillip Avila of Pro-Life Nurses, and if you need more information, and you do, then you want nursesforlife.org.
That's right.
And send them an email and say, listen, log in, register it up, get your news alerts, and help support these guys. This is a nice, good-looking young man here who's trying to make a difference, not only in our state but around the country, right? Because listen, we need more folks in our medical profession, people that are standing for life, who have a sober understanding of God's will and what compassion truly is for
Right.
patients, for people in need, and we need more of those. And the last thing we want to do is be training these up on how to perform or assist in an abortion procedure. It's still amazing to me. I can't imagine, because my daughter,
Right.
she wants to become a nurse. I can't imagine if she was required to become part of an abortion procedure, she wouldn't do it. I can tell you straight up, she wouldn't do it. If that meant the end of her career, the end of her scholastic achievement in the nursing profession, then that would be it. And is that what we want? Is that what we want? Obviously, we don't. So, nursesforlife.org, get more information and sign up. And if you'd like more information about First Choice, our own clinic here in Las Vegas, maybe you're a young lady that's facing a crisis pregnancy yourself, and you just need more answers. You want more answers for someone that's not going to make any money off of you, right? Give First Choice a call. They're going to love you, and they're going to be honest with you and give you the absolute truth for what you need in a critical situation. Here's the number, 294-CARE. That's 702-294-2273. First Choice Pregnancy Services. Focus on the Family called it the most premier crisis pregnancy center in the nation.
That's
We
right.
have the model crisis pregnancy center right here in Las Vegas, and it's free to you, which is why I love them. I just absolutely love them. I love their heart. I love the staff. I love what they're doing. You know what else we're going to be doing? Oh, by the way, if you'd like to volunteer, they need volunteers. And you know what we're going to be doing? We're going to be starting our podcast. Felipe, you could be one of our first podcasts
Oh my gosh.
at First Choice. The studio is almost done. We need some folk. For those of you who know OBS software or know how to handle podcasts, listen, volunteer. Give us a call, 294-CARE, 294-2273. It said, I would like to help you. We could use your assistance. We need a producer. So we could really use your help and get these podcasts off the ground. So fascinating things, wonderful things that are in our future. Phillip, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you, folks out there on Facebook, for bearing with us today. And you got to come back and see us, Phillip.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I'd love to.
So give me the name of your organization again and
Sure.
how to get in touch.
Yeah, so it's the National Association of Pro-Life Nurses, and the website is nursesforlife.org. And if you're not a clinician yourself, you probably have someone in your life who's a nurse. So
Amen.
Tell them about us.
Folks, it's been wonderful again. God bless you. And remember, the Lord's going to bless you as you take a stand for life. So long. And thank you out there in Facebook land. We love you guys.
Thanks for joining us for the Champions for Life radio broadcast, the outreach ministry of First Choice Pregnancy Services.
Join us every Thursday at 12:30 on KKVV 1060 AM.
If you or someone you know need help with your pregnancy, or if you wish to visit or support our clinic and radio ministry, please call 702-294-CARE. That's 702-294-2273.
Or visit us at fcpschampions.org. That's fcpschampions.org.
Say I assemble a dream team, the top 100 synthetic chemists, the top 100